Hello everyone. So today I'm going to be sharing my story. I'm a mother of three. The first delivery was through a cesarean section and the second and third were through normal deliveries. I'm going to be talking about my myths concerning cesarean section and things you can do in order to have a normal delivery after a cesarean section. So I'm going to be sharing what I did during my pregnancies in order to permit me to have a normal delivery after. This is Talk Pregnancy with Dr. Noella, where we tell you all about pregnancy and other women-related health issues. So if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to click the subscription button. And to those who have subscribed, thank you very much. So let's dive right in. My first pregnancy, everything I can say I had a normal pregnancy because for my system I hardly have this nausea, vomiting. I might have some fatigue, mainly fatigue that I usually have, but nausea, vomiting, spitting, I don't usually have all that. So it was normal throughout the 9 months. I do my regular checkup, but when I had to do the last ultrasound, where maybe to check out and make sure that everything is fine before labor wants to start. Unfortunately for me, during the ultrasound scan, it was seen that there's a cut around the neck of the baby and even a knot already formed. The doctor had to even check to see whether was it already suffocating the baby. So he saw that it was already at the midway, strangulating the baby inside. So an emergency cesarean section was done at that point. How did I feel? I know what women out there go through when they start saying that they have to deliver by cesarean section, especially if you have gone through labor, all those pains during that time. Then they say you have to go through a cesarean section. It's not easy to accept it, because I was like, throughout the pregnancy everything was fine. What happened just now? What happened? What kind of thing is this? It's not easy, I understand, but you know, as women we need to think of the safety of our children too. So I had to accept. I accepted it. I said, no problem, let's do it immediately and make sure that the baby is safe. That was how the first pregnancy was a cesarean section. And after this cesarean section, now I knew that because there are conditions, I've made a video on that. There are some conditions that you need to fulfill before you have a normal delivery after a cesarean section. So since this was my first delivery, I know people will always know that once a cesarean section, always a cesarean section, but no, that is not the case. And so if you have had the cesarean section just once, you have a chance of having a normal delivery after, but there are conditions that you have to fulfill. Now if you take in less than 1 year when this baby you deliver through a cesarean section, if you get pregnant again when this baby is not yet 1 year old, it means that the next delivery automatically is a cesarean section. So either you take your family planning, or if you know your cycle, you manage it well and make sure that if you want to take in, you take in after 1 year. So for mine, I took in when, for the second pregnancy, it was when this baby was, the baby through the CS was around 1 year 6 months, so 1.5 years. So I had to wait for some time because it gives time for the wound to heal, which it can undergo contractions during the next delivery. Throughout the pregnancy was okay, there were no complications. Then the main thing was during the day for labor. I didn't even know it was labor since I've never gone through labor pains before. When it even started, I felt like whether it's a urinary tract infection, what is my abdomen paining. It started when I was actually cleaning dishes. When I slept, it started increasing. I was like, it could be labor. This could be. You know, we teach these things, but the experience is different. When we teach it, we teach like lectures, but something that you go through, it is different. So in the morning, that was around evening, by morning when I went to the hospital, it was discovered that I was already around 4 centimeters dilated, and the contractions were improving, and it increased progressively, and the baby came out. So with this, what did I do during this time that I was pregnant? One thing you need to know is that if the baby has a weight greater than 3.5 kilograms, it means that there's a chance that this baby is going to be big, and during labor, during contractions, there's a chance that this wound can burst and open, and you have a ruptured uterus, which we will not want. So if at any point in time they estimate the weight of the baby is greater than 3.5, therefore they'll book you for another operation. So what do you have to do during pregnancy? You see, women come, they eat. I'm pregnant, I'm not eating for myself alone, I eat for the baby, and I'll just take anything around and be eating. No, you can eat your 3 square meals, more breakfast, lunch, and supper. If you want to take anything in between, you can take fruits, water. With all this, it can avoid you gaining extra weight during pregnancy. You need to also try to keep yourself active, walking around, so that you don't gain too much weight, and the baby too is not going to be too big. Because once the baby is too big, even you have done all your best, it means they'll still just program you and operate you. That's what we call an elective cesarean section. So during this time, I kept myself busy. Then if I was eating, I make sure I eat well, but not extra. That was one thing I knew. Then secondly, know that if even you wait for 10 years before you take in, then you discover that they are twins, triplets, no, they'll just program you and operate you. So my own case, I had just a singleton baby, so it was normal to prepare and to try in vaginal delivery after a cesarean section. So after that, when you deliver, they have to check to make sure that the wound is still intact, that it has not ruptured. Since I'd already had a normal delivery before, the chance of me having now a normal delivery after was high than before. With this third one, what happened is, during the time of delivery, the fetal heart of the baby started going too high. It started being abnormal. I said, oh my god. So in this case, they had to try to do some maneuvers in order to adjust it, put in some fluids, and it became fine, it became normal. So you see here that even if you fulfill all the conditions during deliveries, many things can still happen. So if during that time the baby does not engage well, does not calm down well, your contractions are not adequate enough, the baby starts suffering, the heartbeat of the baby starts decreasing, or you start getting exhausted, it can still end up in a cesarean section. So the fact that they have left you to try a vaginal birth after a cesarean section does not mean that you cannot still have a cesarean section at the nick of time. Now, one advice, my own advice from my story, is that it's always good to follow your pregnancies effectively, because you can see that maybe during that time for the first pregnancy, I might just sit like I'm a doctor. Yes, everything has gone on well, it's really 9 months, everything was fine, so let me just stay. Imagine me who is a doctor, imagine the one who does not know or who neglects antenatal consultations or follow-up. You see where they can end up. There are some women who will come, who we see by the time they are reaching, the baby has already died in the womb. What happened? Did you neglect something at one point? Because during your antenatal consultations, they tell you, they give you signals that you can feel if the baby is not moving well, or danger signs. They tell you all this so that you should know, and if it happens at any point, you report immediately. That's the importance of proper follow-up of pregnancies. Do not neglect anything, because at any point anything can change. Then demystifying the myth about cesarean section, because many people out there believe that once a cesarean section, always a cesarean section. No, we have seen that it is possible. And if you had a cesarean section, you are weak, or this, you see that this is an act of heroism. If you can go through an operation, you bear the risk of having a scar in your abdomen. then to save yourself and that of your baby. I mean, that's something we have to applaud you for. You're not less of a woman. And thirdly, even if you have a cesarean section and the second one still ends up being a cesarean section, therefore all your pregnancies are going to be through cesarean sections, and you can even have up to 5 children if there was no complication. So you can still have the number of children you want. Trying to bring out the point of proper follow-up of pregnancies, and when situations come where a cesarean section is needed, do not delay, because we have seen people delaying for cesarean sections, and by the time they want to save them, the baby has already suffered enough and the baby comes out, the baby is not fine. You see that 4 months the child is not sitting, 1 year this child is not sitting or walking, so the child has already suffered, where if you had to take that decision early, you would have prevented this from happening. This was where my passion stemmed out from, in order to reach out to women out there who are suffering the same thing. I said to myself that as a medical doctor, if I can go through all that, it means there are other women out there who are suffering from this, and they don't even have the slightest idea that there could be something that could have been done, or they could have prevented these kind of situations from happening, where maybe they lost their baby, or their baby comes out already severely distressed, and at the end the baby is not able to walk or talk, or it's very frustrating. So I decided to create this platform, to create this organization, in order to reach out to these women out there and teach them how they can help themselves. So throughout pregnancies, they enjoy their pregnancy, they do their proper follow-up, and finally have a healthy baby, thus preventing maternal and neonatal mortality in a long run. Thank you very much, and God bless you. I hope this inspired you enough to be able to share to others out there, such that they can learn more about themselves, especially during pregnancy. And if you want me to follow up with your pregnancy, if you need any advice, if you want to book a consultation with me, click on the link on the description box and you will get to me. Thank you very much, and God bless you.